Hey guys, we're making life fun today. We're at Animal Kingdom and we're going to be doing the second edition of the Scary Ride Breakdown. So today we decided to do Dinosaur. We're going to do the entire breakdown. Again, maybe you have little kids with you, maybe you yourself are super scared of certain rides, so we're going to break it all down so you know if there's anything that you need to be worried about, you have an idea if you can ride it or not and what to expect. So, really excited? Let's do it. All right, so here's the deal with Dinosaur. It is a dark ride, and it's very dark. It has a lot of animatronics that look like dinosaurs in it. You're in a vehicle with about 10 other riders. At the very beginning of the ride, you get in, you strap up, you buckle in, and it kind of just like teeters back and forth. The ride vehicle can move back and forth, and then forward and back. It moves up and down, but only a little bit, nothing too crazy. The theme is you go back in time to the prehistoric age and you're trying to grab a dinosaur and then time travel back into current time with the dinosaur. You go into this time travel, kind of like hypnosis sort of thing. It's super tame. You're just slowly rocking back and forth and then you go back in time. Then you enter the dinosaur land. At this point, it's pretty dark. There's some animatronic dinosaurs. You see them kind of like feeding and feeding on grass and just kind of moving around real slow. As the ride progresses, it gets a little more intense. There's times where you kind of speed up a little bit and it just jerks a little bit. There's times where you might take a small dip down. When I say a small dip down, it's not a drop, but it's just kind of like if you're actually in like a Hummer or doing a little bit of off-roading and then the terrain went down pretty steep. It kind of feels like that. There is a lot of jerking and sudden movements, so if you have back problems or super sensitive, something like that, it might be a little difficult on your back or on your neck. Toward the end of the ride, it gets pretty intense. It gets very loud if you're someone that has issues with being too stimulated with senses like sound. There's a lot of sudden sounds, loud sounds, screeching sounds. So if you or someone you're with or a kid is sensitive to that might be a problem. It might scare them. This ride scares a lot of kids just because it's so dark, and these dinosaurs, they're big, and in the dark they look really real. There's one part where a really big dinosaur looks like it's kind of chasing you. It's only for a second, but it kind of runs after you the side and your ride vehicle speeds off. Again, when I say speed off, you're not going crazy fast. You're in the dark, so it feels pretty fast. You're probably going no more than 10 miles per hour. At the very end, there is super loud screeching, and you take like an 8-foot drop. Again, it's not a vertical drop straight down. It's just like you're probably at like a 45-degree angle, just going down a little bit. It's like a little decline, but it is pretty sudden. And then that's the ride. Then you're back to safety. Pretty much, if you have an issue with big drops or going super fast, you should be fine on this. There's no loops, nothing crazy like that. If you're looking for something that's really calm and tame, this isn't it. It's loud. There's parts where it's thrilling. It's intense. If you have issues with the dark, this might be challenging. If you have issues with being overstimulated with sounds, sudden sounds, this might be an issue for you. If you have an issue with being kind of jerked back and forth, I think that's a good word. This ride is kind of jerky. So if you have issues being jerked suddenly, then you might have an issue on this. You may want to pass it. The ride's nothing too crazy. So if you're like, is it gonna freak me out? Is this ride crazy? No, this ride is not crazy. It's a nice little ride. It's fun. It's just not for everyone. I feel like it's just the right amount of thrilling. Again, I get scared on rides. I don't like big drops or heights, and this certainly has none of that. There's not a certain point where you feel very high. There's not any big drops. So on a scale of 0 to 10 to how scary this ride is, I would give it a 1. It's really not bad, nothing too crazy. You have to have very specific issues, things like I mentioned before. You have issues with being in the dark. You have issues with sudden loud sounds. If you don't have any of those specific issues, you'll be good, you'll ride it, you'll have a good time. To be clear, this is a scale from 0 to 10. 0 is the people mover, something that really has, you know, no cause for concern for anybody and everyone can go on it without any issue. And a 10 is the scariest roller coaster that's, you know, at Six Flags or wherever. So with that in mind, I give Dinosaur a 1. It's only a problem if you have very specific issues. Other than that, you're good to go. We have Christine with us now. We wanted to give you a warning. Like I said before, this ride is super jerky. It really throws you around. And one time, Christine brought a bag on this ride. And what happened, Christine?
Now, of course, it's partially my fault. I didn't put my bag in the pouch provided in front of you, which is my bad. However, this ride, to tell you how jerky it is, I had my backpack and my feet in front of me, like pretty tight. It wasn't just laying there. And the ride jerked around so much that at one point my backpack flew off the ride, and they couldn't shut down the ride to get it or anything because that's an inconvenience. So I had to wait till the end of the day to get my ride. Thankfully, to get my backpack. Thankfully, it was in a spot that was easy to get. It wasn't too much of a hassle. I just had to wait till after the park closed and all that stuff. But, warning, please put your stuff in the pouch provided in front of you. And that's also to tell you how jerky it is.
You said jerky 3 times how jerky it was.
Jerked you around!
We got it.
Gives you like a back alignment.
So, like Christine said, they have pouches in front of you. Put any loose belongings, any bags in there. If they're too big to fit in there, then there are little hooks in front of your seat, and you can hang your backpack on there, and it'll be fine. But definitely heed their warning. Do not just leave it on the ground. Even if you're like, oh, I'm just gonna tuck it under my feet and keep it there. There's really no reason to risk it. The ride is really jerky, and the cast members will do everything they can to help you out, but if it gets lost on the ride, they won't, like Christine said, they won't be able to get it until the park closes. Also, the most intense seat, some people say best seat, but the most intense seat to have the most intense experience is the last row all the way to the left. So if you're a little uneasy, if you're like, oh, I'll be fine on it, but I'm a little worried just because of how jerky it is or whatever it may be, maybe you have to sit in the front. So that'll be a little more tame experience for you. And that's the case with most rides and coasters. The back is more intense, but just know that that is no less true on this one.
I tested out that theory back in the COVID days when there was barely anybody at the park. David and I came, and David wasn't feeling great, so he sat out, and I was like, I'm gonna go ride Dinosaur. And there was no line that they just let me keep riding it. And the cast member said, hey, why don't you sit in the back left? That's the best seat. And I was like, really? I like the front. And he's like, okay. So I rode in the front by myself. There's nobody else in the car with me. Went around, came back, and he's like, want to go again? I was like, sure. Can I ride the back now? He's like, yeah. So I rode the back left and did my ride. When I came back, I told him, you were right, back left is better. So I tested it out. I'm living proof.
It's proven. Tested, proven, certified. Back left. So if you're annoyed that you even have to go on this because it's so tame, go back left. Maybe get a little more intense experience. I hope this was helpful. If you think this might help someone that you're going on a Disney trip with soon, then go ahead and share this video to them. Maybe it'll help them out.
Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.
But thanks for coming along, guys. Thanks for venturing with us, and don't forget,
make life fun.